Today is Wednesday, July 17th. We'll tell you about a plot to kill former President Trump that is said to be separate from Saturday's shooting, and the latest from the RNC as Trump's new VP pick is set to take the stage. Also, what to know about the first U.S. senator to be found guilty of acting as a foreign agent. Plus, big companies are leaving California over a new law meant to protect LGBTQ children. More students can now get college credit for working at their jobs. And we'll explain a few of the newest features in Apple's latest iPhone update. Those stories and even more news to know in today's episode. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Tensions are still especially high after the shooting that hurt former President Trump and killed a man attending his rally. Now the FBI is warning that extremists might try to carry out their own attacks in retaliation. Apparently, some people have already threatened to do so online, so law enforcement is on high alert. Meanwhile, the FBI does not seem to be any closer to figuring out what might have motivated the gunman who tried to assassinate Trump. The agency has now spoken to more than 100 witnesses, searched the gunman's home and vehicle, analyzed his phone and social media presence, and more, and still haven't found any definitive clues. Meanwhile, several news outlets have cited sources who say local police alerted Trump's Secret Service detail before the shooting that they were looking for a suspicious person in the area. Local police were even inside the building near the rally at the same time the shooter was on the roof firing at Trump. So at this point, it's not clear how the shooter got any kind of opportunity to open fire. Eventually, the gunman was shot and killed by one of the 4 Secret Service counter snipers positioned on rooftops around the rally. But of course, the shooting and the response is still under investigation. Separately, reports say the U.S. intelligence community has evidence to suggest Iran is also actively working on plots to kill former President Trump. At this point, there's no sign that the gunman from Saturday's rally was in any way connected to one of those plots. But CNN says because of those concerns, Secret Service had already increased security around the former president when the shooting happened. On the second day of the Republican National Convention, Americans heard from more prominent GOP leaders, even those who had once challenged former President Trump themselves. For example, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, who said, quote, "For the sake of our nation, we have to go with Donald Trump." And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who criticized Democrats' policies on immigration, education, and gender identity, and then said, quote, "Donald Trump stands in their way and he stands up for America." Then there was Senator Ted Cruz, who refused to endorse Trump at the RNC 8 years ago. He started his speech by saying, quote, "God bless Donald J. Trump." Overall, last night focused on safety issues like crime, human and drug trafficking, and border security, all under the theme, Make America Safe Once Again. Today, the RNC's theme is Make America Strong Again, with Republicans calling for overhauls of U.S. foreign policy. And the highlight will be the first public address from Senator J.D. Vance since he was named former President Trump's running mate. Then tomorrow, the RNC will hear from Trump himself, so stay tuned. While most of the attention is on former President Trump and the rest of the RNC, other presidential candidates are still campaigning. Though it appears Trump is trying to bring at least one of his competitors over to his side. A video was released on social media this week showing Trump on the phone with independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. You can hear him telling Kennedy, quote, "I would love for you to do something, and I think it would be so good for you." The call also included a conversation about vaccines, echoing some of Kennedy's earlier views. Trump said, quote, "I agree with you, man. Something's wrong with that whole system." Polls show Kennedy's supporters range from across the political spectrum, so he could draw voters from both Biden and Trump. But for now, Kennedy insists he's not dropping out of the race. President Biden is also back on the campaign trail, and yesterday he gave his first major speech since the assassination attempt on Trump. Biden addressed the NAACP's national convention, saying, quote, "I'm truly honored to be here at this tense moment in this country." He again said he's happy Trump was not seriously hurt and that politics have become too heated. He then went back to criticizing the former president's record, but did keep it mostly about the policies instead of personal attacks. Senator Bob Menendez has now gone from being a powerful Democrat in Congress to a convicted felon. A jury found him guilty of being part of an international bribery scheme. He's been found to have accepted hundreds of thousands of dollars in gold, cash, and other payoffs in exchange for political favors, all while he was the leader of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Now Menendez faces the possibility of many years in prison, though he's promising to appeal, still insisting he's innocent. Even though he's been convicted, he is still allowed to run for re-election, but many of his fellow Democrats are calling on Menendez to resign, and the Senate could decide to expel him, though for now it's not clear if that's in the plans. Well, this week, big storms have left major damage from Iowa to New York. They knocked down trees and power lines, flooded homes, and were responsible for at least one death. They also left passengers stranded on the tarmac at Chicago O'Hare Airport. Tornadoes were reported across multiple states, along with hurricane-force winds. Plus, floodwaters overtopped a dam in southern Illinois, and parts of many roads and highways had to be shut down. Meanwhile, much of the country is still in the grips of a record-breaking heat wave. Heat alerts are in effect for much of the East Coast and parts of the South. Some of the most extreme temperatures are in Washington, D.C., where triple digits have been recorded for 3 straight days. And that marks the most intense stretch of heat since the Dust Bowl in 1930. And there's a chance temps could get above 100 again today. Good news, though, is a cold front will bring at least some relief by the end of the week. We have more news for you still ahead, but first, a break for our sponsor. I have pretty high standards when it comes to the doctors my family and I choose to see. I want to know they have the expertise to do the job, and I want to know they'll actually listen to me and care about me. And yes, I'm that patient that comes in with a list of questions, and I do expect my doctors to be happy to answer them. Finding that, though, is not always easy, so I'll take any help I can get. And one of the tools I use to find the best doctors whenever I need a new one is ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and click to instantly book an appointment. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care to skin care, and much more. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/newsworthy to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. Okay, now back to the news. It marks the end of an era for what was once called Las Vegas's first 21st century resort. The iconic Mirage Hotel and Casino on the Las Vegas Strip is closing its doors for good today. And its famous volcano outside the front entrance is going dormant. The Mirage opened in 1989 and paved the way for a building boom through the 1990s. It's been known for hosting shows like Siegfried and Roy or Cirque du Soleil. But now the shows have ended their runs and the casino has handed out its last stacks of cash. The Mirage is being turned into a new Hard Rock Las Vegas, featuring a hotel tower in the shape of a guitar. And that's set to open in 2027. President Biden has a new plan offering landlords a bit of an ultimatum: cap yearly rent increases at 5% for the next couple of years, or risk losing valuable tax credits. The proposal would only apply to landlords that own more than 50 units, and there would be an exception for new construction and buildings being substantially renovated. It could make a big difference, though, since the White House says corporate landlords control more than half of the national rental market and often buy homes with cash just to raise the rental rates. And housing is one of the biggest hurdles for Americans right now, outpacing overall inflation. But groups that represent landlords and others in the business argue these types of policies only lower the supply of available housing. Either way, this plan would have to be approved by Congress before becoming official, so it's not clear if that will happen. The White House also announced another effort meant to rein in high housing costs. Agencies are looking into whether to use federally owned land to build affordable homes. And the GOP's policy platform supports that idea as well. This week, California became the first state to ban any rules that would require school districts to tell parents about their kids' gender-related or sexual orientation changes. Those kinds of policies have become more common in recent years. Democrats who sponsored the new California law say they want to protect young people whose homes might not be welcoming of their deeply personal decisions. But many Republicans argued against it, saying parents have a right to receive that kind of information about their kids. And the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, sides with Republicans, so much so that he's moving the headquarters of both X, formerly Twitter, and SpaceX out of California over this new law. He wrote on X yesterday, quote, "This is the final straw," and announced he'll move the companies to Texas. Already, Musk moved Tesla's headquarters to Texas as well over California's pandemic policies. Apple has released a preview version of its big new iPhone update. The beta version is out now, letting Apple fans and developers test it out and find any bugs before all iPhone users install the new software this fall. And those who have already tried it out have noticed some big differences. For example, Apple updated the interface so the lock screen, home screen, and control center can be more customized. Top apps have also been redesigned. Like with messages, people can now add bold or italics to text or react to messages with any emoji. There's also a new Passwords app that includes all of Apple's password management features. Users can tap an iPhone against another iPhone as well to quickly transfer digital money. And iPhones can now generate transcripts from calls or recordings. All that said, Apple Intelligence, with features like ChatGPT integration and Siri improvements, are not available in this beta version, but they are expected later this year. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Work Wednesday, when we break down one interesting career or work-related news story every Wednesday. But first, this episode is sponsored by Lumi. We recently went camping, and I was glad to have my Lumi whole body deodorant on hand to keep me smelling fresh despite spending most of our time outdoors in hot summer weather. But really, I use Lumi whether I'm hanging at a campsite and going for a hike, or it's just a normal day at home. And it's my go-to for a reason. It's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. And I appreciate that it's paraben-free as well as safe to use anywhere. The deodorant wipes are especially helpful when you're on the go, like camping or after the gym. Lumi's starter pack is actually perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And as a special offer for listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code Newsworthy. And if you combine that 15% off with the already discounted starter pack, that equals over 40% off their starter pack. So use code Newsworthy for 15% off your first purchase at LumiDeodorant.com. That's code Newsworthy at LumiDeodorant.com. Okay, now back to Work Wednesday. So there's a new perk that comes with working for companies like Walmart or McDonald's, and that is college credit. Yep, employees at the two companies can now get credit for completing certain work and on-the-job training programs. This has long been the case for people getting corporate training at companies like Google, IBM, and Microsoft, or for people who test out of courses through special exams or AP classes in high school. But this is new for work in retail and fast food. At Walmart, workers go through Walmart Academy. It offers 25 training courses and more than a dozen certificates that convert to college credit. In fact, Walmart says it can get workers as far as halfway to a college degree. For McDonald's workers, the fast food chain has worked with several community colleges to convert on-the-job skills into credit, so they can take things like safe food handling or customer service and then use them toward degrees in culinary arts, hospitality, or insurance. The car service chain Jiffy Lube has its own college credit program now as well. The idea helps businesses since it can attract workers in a competitive labor market and keep them for longer, perhaps even offering them higher-level positions in the same company. And educators tell NPR they hope this expands access to education too, allowing more people to get better-paying, more secure careers with less debt. Well, thank you so much for listening and for spreading the word about the Newsworthy. We'll catch you up on more news to know tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.